Hi, I'm STARBORN. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's show sounds like everything is going to be very easy. Well, not to start with, it won't be, but the title is very hopeful because it's called All's Well That Ends Well. But it's going to be somewhat of a rocky road before we get to that, and I'll explain what's going on right now. And that is because consolidations can occur right now. And they can be occurring in diverse ways or in unusual ways. But they would be occurring among known enemies or known competitors who believe that due to perhaps high debt or current economic conditions or instability somewhere in the world or just high interest rates, they may feel that their own positions have been weakened and that the only way that they can sort of progress is to follow that age-old idea that big is better. So they decide to consolidate. So this would be perhaps a known enemy that has grown weaker, two of them at least, and decide to join forces. Or it could be known competitors anywhere in the world, and particularly in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions, or leaders of whole countries. And so they can decide to consolidate, thinking that, okay, their own positions are weaker, but if they get together, big will be better. And so that can be due to the fact that we do have a rather powerful grand trine among the earth signs. So knotty problems, in other words, things that haven't worked out or that people have struggled with, these knotty or confusing problems may be able to get solved as long as people decide to be very practical, because today we have the Sun and Mercury in Virgo, and Mercury is the ruler of Virgo, so they're both very strong, and they are trining Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn, a sign that rules big business and bureaucracies and administration. And it also rules your career and your public reputation and your long-term security. And Pluto being there and retrograde denotes leaders who are in positions of power but maybe deciding to consolidate or change their policies in one way or another in order to strengthen a weakened position that they may find themselves in now. Those three planets are also trining Uranus, which is retrograde at 27 degrees of Taurus, and Taurus is a fixed financial sign. But it is under rather good aspects because, first of all, it's the only planet in a fixed sign right now. There aren't any planets in Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius, so there isn't a harsh T-cross in fixed signs the way there has been for weeks. But, and also that Uranus in Taurus is being backed up by the Sun and Mercury in Virgo and Pluto in Capricorn. But because Uranus is retrograde and Pluto is retrograde, people are having to sort of fall back perhaps on earlier ideas or trying to resurrect former positions that they don't have anymore. Or you could think of it as retrograde planets may be indicating power structures that have changed or been reduced in one way. And certainly it could indicate management changes, but people, particularly known competitors and known enemies, can be doing that because they think that if they merge, they'll succeed because bigger is better. The fallacy with that is that the economic conditions that weakened them in the first place have not changed. They've, in fact, worsened. And so I don't exactly follow their logic, but it is an age-old logic. Big is better. You would think that that would work perhaps in better economic times, but if the same economic conditions or world conditions that weaken them, forcing them into some sort of consolidation, have not changed, I don't see how they're actually going to succeed. But then, you know, I'm not a world leader or anything. I just don't quite see how that's going to happen when the underlying cause hasn't changed for their own weakness. So I don't really see how big can be better. However, they do. And so that can be happening right now, and that can be because people are getting real practical about money and possessions and careers and their public reputation. Maybe there can be consolidation because people are wanting to change their public reputations and maybe improve them in some way. I don't know. But will they be successful? I doubt it. And that is because there are other conditions right now that are presenting roadblocks to all of us. Now just remember, the title of the show is All's Well That Ends Well, but that's after you get over the roadblocks. And there is a roadblock that has occurred once before, a few weeks ago, and now it's occurred again. And that is because there is a grand cross with 6 planets in the mutable signs today. And whenever there's a grand cross anywhere, and it was in the mutable signs before, but a grand cross means that people are not getting along at all and there's no way out of it. Okay? So there are going to be a few hurdles that you're going to have to jump over before all's well that ends well. Or maybe you're trying to do that already, so that would be great. And remember that if known enemies or known competitors do succeed from a consolidation, it is not going to be because their logic is very sound right now. It may be because other people are making more mistakes. And so you know that when you're playing a sport, if you're having an off day, you might still win the game or win whatever you're doing, simply because the other side makes more mistakes than you do. Well, that happens all the time. And so if a consolidation occurs among known enemies or competitors, it will be because others have made misguided mistakes. It's not because the competitors are going to succeed necessarily, but they could get further ahead if they capitalize on others' mistakes. And those mistakes could be around right now because this Grand Cross in mutable signs involves the Sun and Mercury in Virgo. Remember, it's in a grand trine in Earth signs, but it's still hurting because these 2 planets are being opposed by Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, just the way Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. But Neptune and Saturn in that sign, which is a malefic planet, are both retrograde. You're sort of going back and taking a look at things again. These 4 planets are all being squared heartily by 2 other planets. Jupiter in Gemini is squaring them, and today the moon in Sagittarius is also squaring them. And that's where we're getting this grand cross in mutable signs, which means that normally agreeable people who can see someone else's point of view are not doing that right now. They're doing their own thinking. They're not following anybody else's ideas. And that's why in a grand cross, nobody wins. And then there's something that we haven't seen in a long time. And it is that there are 3 planets that are in a harsh T-cross, and they are in cardinal signs. And so Mars has moved out of Gemini now, and it has moved into Cancer. And it isn't too happy in Cancer because Cancer is a very gentle water sign ruled by the moon. So Mars is in Cancer right now. It is opposing that retrograde Pluto in Capricorn. So Cancer rules the home and the family, and Capricorn rules your career and your long-term success, or your retirement, or the rewards you earn, and your public reputation. You might think of these things as being at war, or that there's quite a bit of a tug-of-war or a push and pull going on between family concerns and business or career concerns, because Mars and Pluto are the ruler of Scorpio, and Scorpio is a fixed financial sign, and they are coming up against each other now. So money's a big problem, whether it concerns your family or whether it concerns your career or your employer. And then these 2 planets, which are opposing each other in an opposition, always indicates a separation, are being squared, both of them, by Venus in Libra. Libra is also a cardinal sign. And so that Venus is coming up against Pluto. Whenever Venus and Pluto or Saturn are square or opposing each other, that is an indication of a betrayal. So somewhere we're looking at that. And then Venus is also squaring that Mars in Cancer. So not all family members are seeing eye to eye right now. And the quality of cardinal signs is that Cardinal signs rule vice or virtue. Cardinal signs know right from wrong, and they're adamant about that. And so now there is a harsh T-cross going on about that, and that is going to be difficult to surmount. So how do we get to that title of today's show? All's well that ends well. Well, it is because of that Venus in Libra. Venus in Libra today is trining the only other planet that is in an air sign, and that is Jupiter in Gemini. And Gemini rules communication, but it also rules part-time or temporary efforts, and it rules youth, and it rules all kinds of communication, such as advertising, promoting, journalism, anything where you're communicating with people. And so that Venus, which is at home in the sign it rules, so it's very strong, is trining the other really good planet in the heavens, Jupiter in Gemini. So what wins now? Just what the end of all the problems that you could be facing this week is that love wins. Venus is in Libra. That's what it rules. It rules partnership. But it's more than that wins, because Libra rules the law. So love and the law win, because Jupiter is trining that Venus, which is under a lot of pressure. There can be financial problems that people are sort of fighting with each other about, and love wins, because it's love and the law that win. And that's why all's well that ends well. It's just going to be a hard road to get there, but I think you can do that if you give it a try. So try to keep a smile on your face. Try not to fight with people. It would be very easy to do that right now. It wouldn't get you anywhere or anybody else. And remember that a consolidation, which means, particularly for people in upper management or people in corporations or even known enemies that have been weakened, it simply means that they're going to have to do things that aren't pleasant, like if it's a company, lay off employees, or change their management structure and certainly reduce it. And so, or they could be having to change their policies, all with the idea that big is better, but that may not be true, because the underlying economic conditions have not changed that weakened them in the first place. So if you are wanting to end up with all's well that ends well, remember that the accent is on the ends. If you want to end in a good situation or in a good spot, then I would urge you to either compromise or downsize or try to get along with other people. I think that's going to be pretty hard to do right now because of the Grand Cross. But I would say try to think ahead. And just remember that it is love. And, Libra rules partnership, but it rules beauty. It rules compromise and negotiation. And it rules getting along with people. And it rules give and take. And so does Gemini. And it's Venus trining in Libra, trining Jupiter in Gemini. So good luck. I think we're all going to need it this week, but I think we're going to do all right. And in the end, all's well that ends well. So you would be looking at an ending, so try to make it a good one. That's just what I'm saying. Because time marches on anyway. Sometimes endings turn into other kinds of new beginnings. So there's not going to be anything too wrong with that. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think you are going to be in a position where there can be some kind of ending. It might make you fairly happy, though, Aries, because it simply means that even if you are on the losing end of a legal argument or the losing end of some sort of partnership issue, or maybe at the losing end of a partnership, I don't think that you need to worry too much about that, because there was a solar eclipse in your sign this spring, and you probably already have your mind on something new that you would like to do. So I don't think that if something ends for you right now, Aries, I don't think you're going to cry a tear over it. I think you're just going to close the door and say, fine, I'm off to doing new things. Your sign rules new starts. You're really good at that. It's just that it is going to necessitate having to either obey the law or compromise with a partner or even end a partnership. Because remember, yours is a cardinal sign. And there are 3 planets in a harsh T-cross in cardinal signs, and that hasn't happened in a long, long time. But one of them is your ruler. Mars is in Cancer, squaring your sun. Pluto is in Capricorn, also squaring your sun. And that Venus, which rules love and the law and partnership, is opposing your sun sign. So you might be on the losing end of something right now. You may decide not to consolidate. You may decide to go off in a new direction and perhaps a little bit more on your own, because you may think to yourself, well, there's no other way to get ahead except do it my way. Well, Aries like to do things like that. So I would say that you may be facing the end of something now, Aries. But on the other hand, I don't think you're going to lose too much sleep over it, because you have the ability to just turn over a new leaf and go in a new direction, and I strongly urge you to do that right now. Do not stay in a losing situation, because you won't win it. So starting over is a great idea, and it's something you do really well, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. This is a time, Taurus, when you may feel like the Lone Ranger. And the reason why is there's only one planet in a fixed sign, and it's in your sign, Taurus. It is Uranus, which is retrograde at 27 degrees. It's going to be retrograde for a while in your sign. In fact, it doesn't, even though it's only 3 degrees away from changing signs or being out of your sign, it's going to take a whole year for it to do that, because it's going backwards right now. Then it'll have to turn around and start over and go forward. And so right now, there is a grand trine in the earth signs, Taurus, which you can sort of be thanking your lucky stars about right now, because the Sun and Mercury in Virgo are trining your Sun, and a retrograde Pluto is in Capricorn is also trining your Sun, and then Uranus is retrograde in your Sun sign. So this is a very good time, Taurus, for you to wrap up or solve sticky issues or knotty problems that, you know, they just look like there are problems that you need to solve. And I think they have to do with money, because yours is a fixed financial sign. And they also have to do with the way you want to live. And you should look at that a little bit more closely, Taurus. Not just how much it's going to afford, but what you can stand and what you can't stand. And Taurus likes their creature comforts. And they like to stick to things. You know, Taurus is a fixed sign. It's not a changeable sign. And so that endurance and going forward and sticking to what you do well, it does seem to make you happy, Taurus. I mean, if you're around things that are, you know, people could say, oh, a Taurus likes to get in a rut. Yeah, maybe they do, but they're comfortable that way. And besides, they're successful that way. I mean, who's going to argue with that? And so, Taurus, if you are reaching a point where you need to solve some problems that are challenging you in one way or another, and one of them could be a health problem, but you ought to be able to solve that because the Sun and Mercury are in Virgo, trining your Sun. And then one of them could be a career problem, or something that has to do with your public reputation or with your long-term security. Because Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, meaning that you've got to take a look at how you're going to afford to live for the rest of your life. And I would really suggest that you go slow and take small steps, because I don't think anything else is going to work right now. I also don't think consolidation is going to work for you. If your financial position has been weakened right now, by consolidating with somebody else to improve it may not work, because you might think, oh, well, I'll form a partnership with somebody else and big is better. Well, not if the economic conditions haven't changed, and they haven't. And so you need to sort of shore up your own defenses, or sort of lock down the way that you live and how you can afford it. And you really don't need to concentrate on anybody else, Taurus. You need to concentrate on yourself. There's only one planet in a fixed sign, and it's Uranus in your sign. But Uranus is a malefic planet. It rules unsuspected change, sudden surprising change, volatility, rebellion. That's why it's called a malefic planet. You can't count on it. And so I would not broaden your horizons right now. I would not expand right now, Taurus. You have some good backup in earth signs. That means this is a great time for you to solve your own problems. And just concentrate on that and your long-term security. Not anybody else's, Taurus, just yours. So I hope you try that. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is the time, Gemini, when I think, despite whatever problems you are facing, all's going to be well. And that is because love wins, and so does the law. And that is because Venus in Libra, while it is under duress, it's being squared by Mars in Cancer, it's being squared by Pluto in Capricorn, but it's still the ruler of its own sign, and it rules peace and partnership and compromise and beauty and the law. And that planet is trining Jupiter in your sign beautifully. And they're both direct. And so I think that this is a time when you should concentrate maybe on improving a partnership. Or if you have a legal question or you're involved in some sort of legal dilemma, I don't mean that you caused it, but that somehow you're connected to it, I would pursue the right way to do it. You could win a lawsuit right now, Gemini. And you may not have to go to court to do it. You could just say, look, this is the law. And in order for all of us to get along, we need to follow this. And I think that you would be right about that. And I don't think anyone else is really going to argue with you on that either. So even though yours is a mutable sign, and it's caught up in a grand cross, all I'm saying is that if you are in any kind of a sticky situation that involves partnership or the law, because people are not willing to cooperate or even talk to each other right now, I think that you ought to fall back on just what the law is, and that you just want to see fairness. And so you don't need to get in the middle of anybody else's battles. You can just say, look, this is what's fair, and this is what we need to do. And I think that other people, even if they don't listen right away, remember, all's well that ends well. And that's because you have a very good planet in your sign, and it's trining the other planet that's going to make that happen, Venus in Libra. So no matter what the quandary is that you are facing, no matter that you may be suffering from indecision by others and lack of cooperation, I would say all you need to do is narrow your focus to what is fair, and particularly to how to follow the law, and you'll win. That's what wins. And so good luck, Gemini. Sure, you're facing people with all different kinds of ideas and opinions right now. Do not get lost in what they call the weeds, Gemini. Just keep your focus on how to make something work in a fair way, or even how to be good to a new partner or become a new partner. You could do that too. And it all means that your future would be better. Venus in Libra and Jupiter in your sign are trining the sign of Aquarius, which rules the future. And the ruler of Aquarius, Uranus, is in Taurus right behind your sun sign, but next year it's coming into your sun sign for 7 years. And boy, are you going to take off and be happy, Gemini. Could be starting right now, because Jupiter's in your sign until next summer. So good luck. Just don't get caught in other people's arguments. Keep the focus on fairness and the law, and you'll win. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer. Mars has just come into your sign, Cancer. Ooh, that means you could decide that you're going to be very busy, that there's things you need to get done, certainly at home, or you may be involved in some sort of family dissension right now. Other people could be arguing, or you may be somewhat dissatisfied with other people in your family, or in some sort of situation that involves real estate or the home, or even some way that people can be involved in a union activity of some kind. Cancer rules unions. Cancer also rules the United States. And so you can be very, very involved with other people whose emotions are very heightened right now. And you know, Cancer is actually a pretty calm sign. It's ruled by the moon. The moon is passive. I mean, Cancers like to get along with everybody, and they are so sensitive that they catch on real quickly to what's going on around them, but they don't always comment about it. But they know what's going on. And I would say, Cancer, that you can know if other people are making power plays. Or you can even know if people are sort of trying to stick pins in you right now and get you overwrought in one way or another. Well, just look the other way. Don't notice what they're doing, because all they're doing is being underhanded. They could be very jealous of you, Cancer. Mars rules jealousy. It's in your sign. It doesn't make you jealous, but it could mean that other people with jealousy or a score to settle could be headed your way. Now, Neptune and Saturn, another malefic planet in Pisces, are trining your sun. And so that's pretty good, because behind the scenes, you could know a little bit more about what's going on than anybody realizes. And that might do you some good. But at the same time, Saturn is a planet of reality. It would make you face reality about an illusion that you had. Maybe you have been painting people in a way that makes them look better than they really are. And you're going to have to face the truth about that. You'll just have to say, oh, they're not quite the way I thought they were. And so that could end a partnership, because Venus in Libra is squaring the Mars in your sign. And Pluto in Capricorn is opposing that Mars. And that means there's definitely some sort of controversy about money in your life, Cancer. It could be money that you are debating or arguing with others who are in upper management. If you are in upper management, you may be wanting to change policies or reduce staff or cut costs or something like that, which would mean that you would have to work harder in your career and may not be able to be around for other family members' needs. And so that's the way it goes. Sometimes you just have to handle what is best in the long run. And you will have to face that right now. And so there could be, if all's well that ends well, oddly enough, it could be that you feel better about the end of a partnership that has been troublesome and been aggravating you and worrying you. And it would have been a partnership that may have started out okay at some time, but it has become vindictive and accusatory and controlling. You don't need that, Cancer. And oddly enough, it may even involve family members, because Mars is in your sign and Cancer rules the family and the home. And so you will have to look behind the scenes. Remember, Saturn and Neptune are trining your sun, and you will have to ask yourself honestly, well, what does the whole picture look like here? Or what's the story over time? Saturn rules time. Okay, so how have things changed? And you know, how do things look today? Well, I guess you just have to be realistic, Cancer. But those planets in Pisces are going to help you out. They're going to help you maybe see that some dream wasn't worth it, or that over time it changed so much it's not worth it now. Or it can simply make you realize that the truth that has been well hidden is, and that you have not wanted to face, is coming out, and you'll just have to face it. There are some people that you could have liked very well at one time in your life, and now they're trying to knife you in the back. Oh, who needs that, Cancer? So, I mean, don't respond to somebody's vindictive attack right now. Ignore it, because they want to rally you up. And I advise you to stay calm. Maybe get your mind off that. If you have any emotional problems, just work a little harder at something else. There's all kinds of ways to be successful. And remember, in the end, all's well that ends well. And it might be because you are getting some problems off your back. And that's what you're going to have to do. So good luck, Cancer. All right, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time, Leo, when the good news is there are not as many planets in the fixed sign squaring and opposing your sun. But the number one planet for the last 6 years that has been squaring your sun, Leo, is still doing it. They've got another year to go on that. And that is Uranus in Taurus. It's the only planet in a fixed sign right now, so it is squaring your sun. And it's retrograde. And so that simply means that there could be fluctuation in your investments or in the way you want to handle your money. Or it can be that you may have been counting on some sort of a gamble paying off because that's what your sign rules. Or you may have indulged in an extravagant lifestyle and now it's getting a little harder to afford it. And so you'll have to sort of face the music on that, Leo. But on the other hand, Jupiter in Gemini is sextiling your sun. There could be a way that you could take on some part-time effort or temporary effort that may work out in an easier way for you. And just something that you can do a little bit, and you would enjoy it, actually, because Jupiter is sextiling your sun. And there are not as many oppositions and squares to your sun as there have been for weeks. There's only one planet squaring your sun now, and that's at Uranus. And then on the other hand, Venus is in Libra. It's very strong because it's at home in the sign it rules, and it too is sextiling your sun and trining that Gemini, that Jupiter in Gemini, indicating that if you tried something part-time, it would probably work out much better than you think, Leo. And you don't have to have everything your own way. And if your costs have risen to the point of a lot of extravagance right now, and your budget's getting a little bit tight, maybe you could take on some extra part-time work that would not only please you very much, or a project that was part-time. Maybe you don't need the money, but you just want to sort of go in a more creative direction. You could do that right now, Leo. Simply because there are not as many adverse aspects as there have been. Now that's going to change by November, because Pluto will go back into Aquarius and oppose your sun for years, and that starts in the middle of November. And that's why I'm suggesting that you need to shift or focus on something else right now that relieves the pressure in your life, and it may even improve your health, because the Sun and Mercury are in Virgo right ahead of your sun sign, and they're in a grand trine. And so maybe this is the time when you need to pay attention to little things that can make you happy. And they don't have to last forever. But if they relieve the pressure that you've been under for so long, Leo, why not try them? You have nothing to lose, so I hope you do that. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo. This is a time, Virgo, when you really benefit from the grand trine that is in the earth signs. And I would like to add that you need to benefit from it. You need to stick to trying to solve complex problems or knotty issues that have been bothering you or that are certainly around. They could have been caused by other people, or your reaction to adverse circumstances may have bothered you a lot too. And this is a time, since yours is a mental sign and your own ruler is in your sign, Virgo, it's Mercury, the planet of the mind, and the Sun is there too, and they're being trine by Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn, which means you may want to reassess your career prospects right now. I would do that quickly, because Pluto isn't going to stay in Capricorn, but it is trining your Sun right now. And also, you need to look over your long-term retirement plans carefully. But that would help you too. And then Uranus in Taurus is also trining the Sun and Mercury in your sign, and it is retrograde, meaning that you're going to have to redo your investments or some financial issue in one way or another. And all of these things could have been bothering you a little bit. And the reason why is that indecision reigns supreme due to this horrible grand cross in the mutable signs, and Virgo, yours is a mutable sign. So even though you have great planets in your sign, there are a whole lot of other planets coming up against them right now, and nobody's agreeing on anything. That's why you just have to use your own great mind right now, quietly, to think about what's important to you, and maybe very quietly do something about it. When there's a grand trine in earth signs, which are practical and hardworking, this does not mean you need to sit down and rest and party. This is a great time, and it's not going to last. The trine will be over when the Sun and Mercury move out of your sign, and then it'll really be over when Pluto leaves Capricorn in November, and that's not that far away. So you really need to sit down and say, okay, what's bothering me and what can I do about it, and start doing it. And you'll get a lot of help from that. And so, turn off the other people that are worrying you and bothering you. Virgo rules worry. They always worry about things. Instead, you need to concentrate on just how you can solve your own problems and get ahead, particularly for the long run. And remember that economic conditions are not as stable as people would like, so that a consolidation between known competitors or known enemies may not work. It might initially work because they believe that big is better, but if the underlying economic conditions have not changed or worsened, then they're no better off than when they were being weak beforehand. They may have even more to lose. And so people have to be real careful with their money now, and with their career decisions and their long-term security. And Virgos are careful with that. And this is when you need to just concentrate on that, Virgo. Forget everything else. No matter what other people say, they just have their own opinions and they're not changing their minds, and they're undecided anyway. So they can't even make up their minds. So forget it. Just concentrate on what is good for you right now while you can. The timing is right for that. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, you've got one of the best planets in the heavens, Venus, in your sign. And yes, it is under duress because Mars in Cancer is squaring that Venus. That means that not all your relationships are getting along perfectly, Libra, and you know it. And it could involve family members or real estate or home issues, because Mars is in Cancer, and that's what Cancer rules. And then also, or union activities, because Cancer rules unions too. And then Pluto in Capricorn is also squaring that Venus in your sign. And when Venus and Pluto square or oppose each other, it is an indication of a betrayal. So not every partnership is going to work out right now for you, Libra. But particularly for you, what wins is that love wins. That's ruled by your sign. That's ruled by Venus, and Venus is in there. So love wins, and also the law wins. Okay, so it's not just one or the other. It's got to be both. Love and the law win. And that's how all's well that ends well. And I'm talking about ending. I'm not really talking about love. Love is a component of how to end something, but I am talking about if you were going to end something well, which you can do right now, Libra, you don't need to focus on stitching something together. You do need to focus on ending something according to the law and what is fair. And you're going to win on that. And that's how you win. Because Jupiter in Gemini is trining your sun. And together, these two wonderful planets, Venus and Jupiter, are trining the sign of Aquarius, which rules the future. Your future, Libra. So, what do you want to do? Hang on to yesterday? Hang on to the past? Or do you want to sort of balance things out, try to be fair to yourself and others, but if you can't, lean on the law, Libra. It's there to help you, and it's going to help you. And that's because you've got Venus in your sun sign, trined by Jupiter. There could be ways that you could take on something in a temporary or part-time way that would be extremely good for you, Libra. So if you're debating and you're sitting on the fence, you're trying to make up your mind about whether to go forward with something, or if somebody asks you to do something just part-time or temporary, and you say, oh, I don't know, that's not the way to get ahead right now, Libra, say yes. Give something new a try. It could make a tremendous difference in your future. And it doesn't have to be forever. But it sounds to me, with Jupiter trining Venus in your own sun sign, there could be a very good offer, even two of them, coming your way that involve part-time efforts. You don't have anything to lose by saying yes. It's not a total commitment. It's a wonderful new start, maybe two of them, that can be headed right your way. And that's because somebody likes your style, Libra. They like the way you work. They like how fair you are. So, don't let home and family issues bother you right now. You got to sort of turn away from them. Those people don't know what they want either, so don't listen to them. It's not up to you to solve everybody else's problems. It's up to you to achieve something that is well in the end for you. And it might be that you have to end some controversy with family members. Well, that's called growing up. Maybe you need to do that. And then Pluto in Capricorn, which rules business and big government and your career and your public reputation, that's squaring Venus in your sign, and that simply means that there's going to be a betrayal around somewhere. It could be something like your employer has to lay off some employees because their economic position has weakened due to the economy, which is weaker. Okay, that makes sense. Or it can simply be that there are people that have really wanted to do everything their own way, and they've risen to the top in top management, and they still don't have good results for that, and you know it, and so you've got to end a relationship with people like that. They're never going to get you anywhere. They don't even know what they're doing. So you have to reconsider things. That Pluto is retrograde. There's going to be a change in management in a lot of different places. But that's how we get to all's well that ends well. Because if there's bad management around, you have to end it or things will never get better. And so you can go just straight forward and stick to the law, stick to what's fair, Libra, and try new things, even if they're temporary. You need to go into the future, and your planet, Venus in your sign, is trining Aquarius, the sign of the future, and so is Jupiter. That's the direction you need to go. Say goodbye to the past, Libra. It's not doing you any good, it's just dragging you down. You don't deserve that. Just say hello to the future. And don't debate about it, just say yes and do it. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, your rulers are sort of in a fight with each other. And so that means that all is not going smoothly in your life, Scorpio, because Mars, your ruler, has gone into Cancer. Well, that trines your sun. You may be feeling like making a move, because Cancer rules moving. It could be difficult. Okay, well, the weather isn't that bad yet, so maybe you're going to do that. And you can be upset with other family members, or they can be upset with you. Now, what would they be upset about, Scorpio? What does your sign rule? Money. And so they could want you to spend more money on them. This may not go over too well with you, Scorpio, because your rulers are at odds with each other. And Pluto is in Capricorn, opposing Mars in Cancer, and that means that people in upper management want to keep being the boss, only they really can't do that anymore because they don't have a record of success. So they need to change their career directions, and that means that there's going to be a change in their careers and how they handle them, and in their home life. And it can also be that they want the best of both worlds, and since your rulers are opposing each other, that's not going to happen. Somebody's going to have to give up something. And it's quite true that the troubles that we're having, that young people are having in the schools now, the guns in the schools, the crime that's everywhere, and done by very young people, do you sort of suppose that perhaps none of them have a good family life? And do you suppose that might be because parents aren't home anymore? So who's taking care of them? And so you have to sort of, if your children are grown, maybe it's their turn to get out and get a job, okay? Maybe you don't have to keep supporting them. Maybe they have to prove that they're worth something. Well, that's a good idea. And it doesn't mean that you don't love your children. It means that they need that experience of getting out from under the family's wing and out into some sort of career. And they may change careers. Most people do. Most people go along trying different things. Nothing wrong with that. The thing that is important is that they do it. That they don't depend on other people to pay their way forever. But they get out and do their own work, make their own career decisions. That's called growing up. And it has to be done. But Scorpio, thing that can save you right now is the same thing that's been saving you for at least well over a year, maybe 2 years, is that Saturn is in Pisces, trining your sun, and so is Neptune. They're both retrograde. Neptune is at the 29th degree of fate. It does trine that Mars in Cancer, and it does trine your sun. And so you will know from seeing what is going on behind the scenes, you will know if a bubble has burst behind the scenes, and it could have been a dream you had a long time ago. You could see the reality of it now. Saturn is the planet of reality, and they're trining your sun. And you could re-examine the reality of a former dream, and you may be disappointed in the outcome, but better to know it now, because all of us have to get over some things that have created problems in our life, and we have to move on. We have to survive, and your sign is the sign of survival. And one of your rulers, Mars, is trining your sun, and the other ruler, Pluto in Capricorn, is sextiling your sun now. It will give you a little bit more power to believe in yourself, and it may make you want to work a little harder at something, particularly getting your life straightened out in a way that works better for you. And I think it will. So good luck. And remember, you have Venus in Libra right behind your sun. If you need to go to the law to get something settled, you could do it. And you could do it very quietly, but you could do it and succeed. And that may be a good way for you to succeed, Scorpio, somewhat discreetly behind the scenes. Venus is in the background of your life. There could be a reason for you to insist on fairness now, and on the law, and in doing things right. And remember, all's well that ends well. That's the way to end something well, by getting it resolved. And I think that you can do that right now. And that will bring about change. But as I said, all's well that ends well. And so there's an ending for all of us somewhere in our lives. And that will be for the best. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, the moon is in your sign today. It's part of a grand cross in the mutable signs of 6 planets. So that gentle moon in your sign, Sagittarius, is being squared by Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and also by the Sun and Mercury in Virgo. So the lights are squaring your Sun, and Jupiter in Gemini. And Jupiter is your own ruler, Sagittarius, is opposing your Sun sign. Can you get out of a quandary very easily? Well, you could. Venus in Libra is sextiling your sun. I mean, that's a big help, because that planet is at home in the sign it rules. And so, yeah, if there was a sense of fairness or doing something legal, I think that is a way for you to get out of a tremendous period of indecision. And it isn't just your indecision, Sagittarius, it's the indecision of a lot of other people too, who cannot make up their minds right now. And you have a fine mind. It's ruled by Jupiter. You don't have to make up other people's minds. You don't have to worry about what everybody else says. They could change their minds. They're not being conclusive about anything. They're being sort of iffy. And so don't waste your time on them, Sagittarius. You do have the moon in your sign. Okay, it's in a position where nobody's agreed right now about anything. But are you going to wear yourself out about that? I don't think you should. I think you should go home and close the door and concentrate on good ideas of your own. Sagittarius does rule 4-year colleges and universities and graduate schools. It rules people in foreign countries. It rules international law. And Venus rules in Libra, rules the law. It's not necessarily international law, but it's just the law and the sense of fairness and compromise that we all try to live by, and that sextiles your sun. So Sagittarius, I would say, stick to your highest goals and your best ideas, and tune out everybody else around you that's being indecisive or even quarrelsome right now. They simply can't make up their mind. They can't give you a definitive answer about something. Skip it, Sagittarius. they're so undecided and wishy-washy, you'd be wasting your time trying to talk to them. Just let it go. Whatever is unresolved right now, just let it go. And just go home, close the door, because the moon rules Cancer, and Cancer rules the home, and the moon is in your sign. And just concentrate on what makes you happy at home and how you can use your fine mind, because that too will make you happy. And maybe you should just go on a trip right now. Any kind of a trip, even a day trip somewhere, because travel would make you happy. And it can stimulate your thinking, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time, Capricorn, when you definitely benefit from the grand trine in the earth signs. Woo! The Sun and Mercury in Virgo are trining your Sun. You have Pluto retrograde in your Sun sign right now. It's not going to stay there. It'll be gone by November, but it's still there now. So you can redo your career ambitions, or you can be looking at your long-term retirement plans, maybe redoing them in some way, or certainly anything connected with your health or a health plan, because Virgo rules health, and the Sun and Mercury are there. And so you could talk to people about things and maybe, work something that's out better for you. And then Uranus in Taurus is also trining your Sun, which means that your investments can fluctuate in value in one way or another. And perhaps you're going to want to look at that a little bit more closely. But you may not decide to do anything about something. Capricorn rules long-term success. And so Capricorns, they can go the distance, just one step at a time. And since that is your preferred method of working on anything, I would say that even for your finances, you should just stay in the slow lane, Capricorn. And okay, be patient, stay in the slow lane. Economic times are not very stable right now, but that doesn't mean that you should make any quick changes. Capricorns are pretty good at managing their own money. That's important to them. And they do not overspend. They get value. And so if you are thinking that you needed to be a little bit more frugal, or if you want to do anything, you would want to get the best deal for your money. And I think you could do that right now with that grand trine in earth sign. So I would give that a try, Capricorn. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius. This is a time, Aquarius, when your future is sort of staring right at you, okay? And you could say, oh no, I'm at home by myself. There's nobody here. What does she mean by that? I mean that Venus in Libra is trining your Sun, and it rules the sign, and Jupiter in Gemini is also trining your Sun. Those are the two best planets in the heavens, Aquarius, and they are both trining your Sun sign right now. And for the first time in months, there are not as many planets in fixed signs in harsh aspect to each other. In fact, there's only one. Unfortunately, it's your ruler. Uranus is in Taurus, squaring your Sun sign. You're probably used to that by now, Aquarius, because it's been there for 6 years doing that. It's got one more year left, and it's retrograde. You're going to have to sort of look over the way that you are handling money, or what the high cost is of living right now. And you may find some way by working with other people to compromise on something, or to follow the law a little bit more closely, or if your budget is feeling a little bit stretched right now due to higher costs or high debt. I hope you don't have that, but if you do, you may want to take on some sort of part-time or temporary job, just to tide you over, just earn a little bit more money. You could do that because Jupiter is in Gemini trining your Sun. So look for opportunities that can bring in a little more money right now. I think they could. But the important thing about that, Aquarius, is that they can broaden your horizons. If you get out and you start doing something new, you're going to love it. And you're going to meet very nice people, some of whom could be wonderful partners of yours, permanent partners of yours. And so you really need to just get out and expand right now, Aquarius. With Venus and Jupiter both trining your Sun sign, you can't lose. So don't look back. Don't fight yesterday's battles. Okay, even if they're not resolved, drop them. Look only at your future right now, because it's just going to open up in a very loving and nice way. And it's not a good idea to avoid that. you should be out there sort of with open arms, ready to welcome nice people that come your way, because they can. You can also win some legal argument right now. You should do that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when, since yours is a mutable sign, and there are 6 planets in mutable signs in a grand cross, that you could be looking at people who are very indecisive. You know, indecision reigns supreme right now. Nobody can either make up their mind, or they're not sure about what they're thinking about. They could change their minds. That could be a little iffy for you, Pisces, and that is because you have good planets in your sign. You have your ruler, Neptune, which is retrograde, and Saturn, which is a planet of stability and being very serious in your sign. So you can be very realistic now, Pisces, about things. And even if there are old problems around, Saturn rules time, there are problems around that haven't been resolved, I can guarantee you they're not going to be resolved right now, Pisces, because the Sun and Mercury in Virgo are opposing the 2 planets in your sign. The Moon in Sagittarius is squaring your sign, and so is Jupiter in Gemini. And that simply is a description of the indecision that other people have, of the different ways that they're not sure about what they're doing, so they're not sure about what you're doing. Okay, so you don't have to pay attention to that, Pisces. And the reason why is that Mars is in Cancer, trining your Sun. Well, what else is it trining? Saturn in your sign. Mars and Saturn are 2 malefic planets, and they are actually going to do you some good. You want to know how much good, Pisces? This is one of the most rare times in the world when all 3 malefic planets are not in harsh aspect to each other. They may be forming harsh aspects with other signs, but to each other they're not in harsh aspect. And that is because Mars in Cancer is sextiling Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus in Taurus is sextiling Saturn in your own sign, and Saturn, along with your ruler Neptune in your sign, are trining that Mars in Cancer. So all 3 malefic planets, Mars, Saturn, and Uranus, which always can get us in trouble in our own charts, are not causing a problem right now with each other. It's so rare that all 3 malefic planets are not in harsh aspect to each other. This is going to help you out a lot, Pisces, because yes, there is a grand cross in the mutable signs. Oh, you can't make anybody happy right now, Pisces. But you know what, Pisces? You're not going to get hurt by anything either. No matter who tries to stab you in the back, no matter who can't make up their mind about something, no matter what the gossip is, Gemini rules gossip, it's not going to hurt you. Okay? Because somewhere you're going to have the last word, Pisces. Because Saturn certainly rules something like the last word, and your own ruler, Neptune, is in your sign. They are both retrograde. You could probably be about to change your mind about something, and you could be quite ready now to face reality about something. And it would involve a move, or your home, or your family life. It could involve your investments, or what you spend your money on, or who else you're spending your money on. And then it could involve a fond dream of yours, or the way that you really want to be happy. You could be looking at all of that with very clear eyes right now, because the malefic planets aren't causing any problems with, particularly with your sign. They're helping stabilize you, Pisces. Mars is trining your Sun, Uranus is sextiling your Sun, Saturn is in your sign, which is being trined by Mars. Pisces can be self-destructive at times. They can hurt themselves through alcoholism, drug addiction, or sexual promiscuity, and that is not where you're going, Pisces. These malefic planets are not hurting you, they're helping you. They could be helping a lot of other people if people would just sit down and be honest with themselves right now, because that is how all is well that ends well. You know, there are times when you just have to end something because it isn't working anymore, or because you've outgrown it, or because you can't put up with something anymore. And so you can't hurt yourself now by making a very good decision and facing reality, Pisces. It is going to do you a world of good. So if there's a move coming, or if there's a change in your family life, or if there is some change in the way you're handling the money now, even if it occurs rather suddenly, it's not going to hurt you that much, because you'll be able to face reality and do things that are right for you at this time in your life. Saturn is only in a person's sign once every 28 to 30 years. Neptune is only, your own ruler is only in your sign once every 146 years. And it's been in your sign for 12 years already. It's leaving. So you have to make up your mind about your fondest dream, or your highest ideal, or what really makes you happy in your heart. And nothing will hurt you, as long as you're not kidding yourself. Just face reality, Pisces. It'll give you a new life. It'll give you a new lease on life. You won't have to escape anything anymore, or run from anything anymore, or be afraid of anything anymore. If you face reality, you might be walking into the best years of your life. And leaving the past behind is a great way to do it. So good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember that you can see the show and subscribe to it on my YouTube channel. And it's under my name, Karen Campbell. And if you'd like to do that and tell your friends about that, I'd really appreciate it. Because I do love doing this and trying to help in any way I can. So until then, I'll see you next week. Bye.